Guys, I gotta tell you, this is the most fun I've ever had in a motorcycle review. This bike is nuts. Let's get to the review. The Harley Davidson Sportster S is a mind-blowing motorcycle, and it strikes a great balance between extreme fun-having, comfort, and head-turning style. In this video, I'll try to impart why it's the most surprising motorcycle I've ever reviewed. Let's do work.
Hi Brian, Al Lucchino from Harley Davidson at Danbury. Thanks for giving us another opportunity to get on your YouTube channel and bring the customers up to speed about the new 1250 Sportster S. This takes Sportster and Harley Davidson performance to a whole new high level. 121 horsepower Revolution Max liquid-cooled engine, overhead cams, 60-degree V-twin. There's a belt drive, so it's quiet, clean, maintenance-free. Our dealership has tremendous experience with this. One of our favorite customer upgrades on this bike is the Jekyll and Hyde multi-mode exhaust, where you've got stock, medium, and loud, all controlled by a solenoid at the handlebar. This is an awesome performance motorcycle, Brian. I want you to take it for a ride. Show your viewers, tell them what it's all about. Thank you for visiting with us at Harley Davidson at Danbury today.
In this video, we will be mentioning the people who found the secret code word in the last video. Find the secret code word in this video for a shout out in my next video. Right off the bat, I can say this bike is a head turner. The design combines classic Harley aesthetics with modern. The low slung stance, aggressive lines, and the unique oval shaped headlight make it stand out even further. And not to mention that big old 160mm tire up front with a 180 out back. It just adds to this bike standing out in a sea of other boring motorcycles. I can confirm people were turning heads to see this bike as I rode it, and for good reason. It's beautiful, aggressive looking, and unique, and with how cool it looks, people naturally just want to know more about it. In terms of specs and performance, the 2024 Sportster S is powered by a Revolution Max 1250T engine. The 1252cc powerhouse delivers a respectable 121 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and a massive 94 pound-feet of torque at just 6,000 RPM, and that's on a bike that weighs just over 500 pounds wet. It's mated to a 6-speed transmission which shifts smoothly and keeps that torque flowing for truly exhilarating acceleration. As I said, it weighs in at just 502 pounds thanks to a lightweight trellis frame. With a 3.1-gallon fuel tank, it offers a decent range, especially at 49 miles per gallon, but don't go too far away from gas stations with the fun that you'll be having at every twist of the throttle like you know you will be. The power of this bike surprised me. In sports mode, you can literally scare yourself. This bike will have no problems passing anyone, anywhere at any time, or blasting up to 100 miles per hour real quick in the cornfields. Brembos bring the bike back down to a stop with radially mounted monoblock 4-piston caliper up front, which grips a single rotor and a floating single piston caliper on the rear. Despite there just being one single rotor in the front, I had no problems bringing this light bike to a quick stop. Electronics and features. The 4-inch TFT display is easy to read, providing all the necessary info at a glance. I think it looks good and complements the bike's aesthetic. And with its non-reflective glass, it's easy to read in direct sunlight. It's bright, the graphics are crisp, and you can't ask for anything more than that. When it comes to tech, the Sportster S delivers. It features multiple ride modes, rain, road, and sport, which adjust the throttle response and traction control to suit your riding style or weather or riding conditions. I found that road mode was very chill compared to sport, and it had a much softer throttle response, but I mostly spent my time in sport mode because 94 pound-feet of torque. The ABS system is paired with cornering traction control, enhancing safety during the kind of riding that we do on bikes like this. The bike is loaded with all the digital nannies like traction control, wheelie control, and even stoppie control. I think Harley Davidson knew I was going to be riding this bike. Anyway, it's got all the modern nannies you can imagine. You also have Bluetooth connectivity, allowing you to connect to your smartphone for navigation and music, and the graphics and navigation cues look big and clear on the display. The only caveat is that you have to use Harley Davidson's app on your phone, but it functions well. But how does the Sportster S do corners? With a lean angle of 34 degrees, this bike allows you to confidently lean into turns without worrying about scraping the pegs too early. I found the front tire to be surprising actually. I thought it was going to make the bike stiff and unmanageable, but the opposite was true. This is the most stable bike for everyday riding I've ever experienced. It has such a good balance at stop signs, I didn't even need to put my foot down at times. I've never felt a bike like this. That big front tire does its thing. That extends to U-turns, and in general it feels so easy to control and navigate through traffic in cities, highways, and back roads. You'd think that big old front tire would force you to wrestle through corners, and yes, you'll need to be engaged with this bike, but that's part of the fun. This isn't a 600 sport bike. It's more like a cross between a cruiser and a street fighter. It's more comfortable for everyday riding, super stable, and it's more than capable in corners. But if you get one thing from this section, the bike is one of the easiest to control motorcycles I've ever experienced. It's effortless to ride, it feels so lightweight, and has boatloads of torque and power, which means it's one of the funnest bikes I've had the pleasure of experiencing. That said, because it's a higher performing bike, I noticed the suspension was stiff and I felt every bump on the road. And especially with the pegs being in the forward position, it's not that easy to lift your butt up if you're going to go over a big bump. The suspension is adjustable, but with only 2 inches of travel out back, your bottom is going to feel the bumps. But that's the price you pay to be able to fly around a corner and keep traction, as with any sporty bike or car. Stiffer suspension, better cornering, comfort. The bike has a forward riding position and forward foot controls, and with me at 6'1" and 210 pounds, I was super comfortable. My legs didn't feel cramped, and the handlebars were at just the right length. They do have an option for mid controls if needed, but I don't think you need it unless you're under 5'7", or if you just want a sportier experience. But that option will set you back $700. Overall, I felt the bike was one of the most comfortable bikes I've ever ridden, but with a stiff suspension and lack of fairings, I wouldn't go long distances with it. However, I will say on the highway, the wind didn't even cross my mind. And I did have a quick blast beyond 75 miles per hour in my Mexico portion of the review, and the wind didn't even bother me. The front suspension utilizes a 43mm inverted fork with 3 inches of travel, while the rear comes with a preload adjustable monoshock. This balanced setup enhances responsiveness, making it a joy to ride in curves. What really stands out is how well it tracks through corners. The Sportster S feels light and agile, allowing for quick directional changes. Not as quick as a 600cc Scalpel, but whether you're taking sharp turns or sweeping bends, the bike maintains stability and inspires confidence. Given its size, weight, and big front tire, this bike amazed me around corners. Plus, the cornering traction control adds a layer of safety, so you can have fun with that added confidence. Now let's get to the sound. The 2024 Sportster S comes with a stock exhaust that's designed to provide a balance of performance and sound. It's not overly loud, but it does have a satisfying growl, especially when you rev it up. It's friendly in neighborhoods, but loud enough to command respect. The stock exhaust sound character is a bit different from the traditional Harley Davidson's V-twin rumble. It's a bit more modern and a bit more refined. Some might say it lacks a bit of that classic Harley growl, but it's still a distinctive sound that fits the bike's modern aesthetic. But let's give it a listen and you can decide. Now let's break down some quick pros and cons. I'm going to be quick. Pros: powerful engine, stylish design, some of the most agile handling I've felt on a bike this size, especially for a cruiserist street fighter type bike like this. And it's loaded with advanced technology. Cons: seat comfort. With the stiff suspension, you're going to feel the bumps. But this isn't a bagger and you know that. This is a let's go have a blast for a couple 100 miles motorcycle. Limited storage. Duh. And the price point is a little bit high at $17,000. But really you got to think what you're getting for this bike. The power and torque, the technology, the looks, the Harley Davidson heritage. And once you consider that, $17,000 is a bargain. I'm not kidding. The torque on this thing alone is worth that money. You will be hard pressed to find a bike this powerful that performs as well for this price. This bike's really in a league of its own. Like I said, it's a comfortable, cruisery, street fightery, torquey little nimble fun beast. It really has to be experienced. Anyway, back to the price point of $17K. I know that Harley Davidson of Danbury can hook you up with a pre-owned one for an awesome price, or work with you on factory incentives, so give them a call right now. So those are the pros and cons. Overall, the 2024 Sportster S impresses me in many areas, making it a strong contender and unique in its cruisery, nimbly, muscle bikey niche segment. I mean, to me, there just aren't any other bikes like it. I think Harley nailed this bike and I highly recommend it. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this review, please hit the like button and drop a comment below. And always remember the motto, always be kinder than necessary, and I will see you in the next one.